So I'm going to go over how to start from a sketch. So we've got a sketch here of a design, rough idea. In this case, we've got some dimensions. You don't necessarily need to have dimensions, but it's a good place to start. And build it up as a 3D model in SketchUp. So here's our idea. So we want to come down and in SketchUp. So when you start up SketchUp, you'll come across something like this. And good idea to choose a template. So I recommend the architectural design. Just millimeters is a nice, easy and appropriate dimension to use for most of the stuff. And also you'll see here, learn, watch videos and read documentation. So there's a whole lot of stuff, learn to use SketchUp, that you can go ahead and use there. So we'll start using SketchUp. So let that load and bring that over. So click up, and so at the moment it sort of comes up with not much, so we need to sort of maybe bring in some tool palettes is useful. So under window, and there's a few here. So I'm just going to start out with entity info, and then let that come up. So that's enough to start with, and then as we go along I'll add some more. So I'll just go back to the sketch. So here's a sketch. It's a nice table with 10 legs, so 5 on each side, and we've got a little frame, and then it's sort of made off that. So to start with, sort of look at the model and go, well, sort of it's got these 10 legs, and they're made up of each sort of H shape, and we've got 5 that are the same. So we're going to go and just draw one, and then see what a way of putting them together. So we'll go over here. So we've got some sizes. So 700 high, and we're 400 across the middle there, and then some other ones. So we'll start out. It's all made out of steel tube, which is 32 by 16. So we'll start out there. So to start with, we want to zoom in a bit. So come over. I'll just use the zoom on the mouse, and we want to draw a rectangle. So we come down here, draw a rectangle roughly in the way we want. And in this case, to come down to the bottom right hand corner, left hand corner, right hand corner, and type in some measurements. So we've started, and what we can do is comma 16. So we've typed in the dimensions that we want, and as you can see, I've actually put it in around the wrong way. So if we come back and type in 16 comma 32, it's still the wrong way. So what we want to do is to start again. So sometimes things don't quite line up, so we'll just triple click and we'll delete that and start again. So what we want to do with the rectangle, click on the point and drag in the direction that we sort of, the shape that we want it. So we want it sort of long in this direction and skinny that way, and then we can see that the way. So we've got here 32 comma 16, and then now we've got it in the right direction. So we've got it in the right way. So by starting the rectangle and then typing in the dimensions, we get it in the right way. So we've got one square. Now we want to make it the length. So if we just quickly go back, so that length is 700 high. So let's come back to SketchUp. So we've got push pull tool here, and then we can just drag up in the direction we want and type 700, and then we'll zoom out here. So if I hold down the middle mouse button, I can move around. So now we've got one leg, which is really useful. So the trick to using SketchUp is you need to group everything. Otherwise all the geometry is going to get connected and turn into a bit of a mess. So if we double click on that, actually I triple click. So double click sort of does a face or a line. If we triple click, it selects everything that is joining to it, so I'll zoom in a bit closer. So it selects everything that's connected to. And then if we right click on it, we can make it a group. So what we're going to do is make it a group. And then what that does is now if we click on it, it's all sort of one object, so to speak. So if we draw any more geometry, things aren't going to get all connected and messy. So now we're sort of getting things to line up. So now we want to draw another one coming out this way. So here we can pull down, and it's really important to make sure that we're in the right sort of 3D space. So you can see if we draw a rectangle here, it's going to be on top, but we want it on that face. So we want to sort of come down, and you can see the little buttons come up and say on edge of group. So, and again, down in the bottom corner there under dimensions, we can type in, so we can go 32, 16, and then that way they're going to line up. So we can see we've got another little thing there. So if we pull that out, and we want it to be 400, so we just pull it in the direction, and then we can just type in 400, return or enter, and then now we've got another piece. So now we're starting to get a shape, and again recommend triple clicking and making that a group. But if we go back to the picture, little sketch, it's not quite in the right place, so we've actually got to drop that down 85. So we're going to do that now. So back there, we're going to go to the move tool, click on that, and then click on the corner, and then move down in the direction that we want without clicking anything, and just hit 85, and then that will move down in the direction that we want. So now we've started to get the shape, and the next thing we can just move this element along. So we want to move, and if we just go use the move tool, obviously it moves it and then disappears, which is not what we want. What we want to do is copy it, and to copy it there's a few tricks, and a good way of figuring out all the little tricks that all the tools have is under the window tool. There is a window called instructor, so we can see that here. Open it up, and what this does, which is really great, is it explains the tool that you've clicked on. So here we're on the move tool, and then we've got modifier keys. So there's a list of modifier keys. So if we hit shift, a lock move to the current interface direction, so it'll sort of force it to X, Y, and Z. Control toggles copy of selection, so we can actually copy, so it turns into a copy rather than just move. And then there's some other ones there, so you can follow in these. So down the bottom there's even making copies, so there's these, and then making multiple copies, so we'll look at those later. But straight away, by opening that little instructor window, it explains all the tools. So if we click on another one, drawing a line, goes through, rectangle, so we want to use the move tool. So really useful way of learning all the different elements. So that's the instructor. So we want to move, we don't want to copy, sorry, this piece over. So if we hit control, no, option, no, what do we want? It's not working. Where does it say control? So now I've got control, and you can see the cursor has changed to a little plus sign next to the move tool, and we can then move that in the direction that we want. So we want to make sure it's on red axis, so you can see, just get a different view, that little thing comes up, tip, so on red axis is what we want, and we know that the gap between it is 400, but we need to move over an extra 32, so it's going to be 432 along there, and then now we've got the whole element moved up. So in the next one we will look at using turning it into a group or a component, and how to copy it in multiple times.